Well, after it's almost been 4 years now since the incident, I feel like everyone deserves an explanation of what had happened to me. So you guys know all that beeping and the stuff that you hear in the background, the ringing and all that. Yeah. I'm going to explain all of it today. So I'm going to wait for you guys. And then I'll explain. Might as well explain why games. This is like a devotional, so I'm gonna explain while I game or do something. Or while I'm working on your guys' surprise and you guys can't see it. Are you guys ready for the explanation of what had happened to me? Everyone can just comment in the thing, press the heart thing in the corner. I've been keeping a secret from you guys. Because it's still emotional for me. But I feel like it's time that after it's been like 3, almost 4 years, that you guys deserve an explanation of what happened to me. Is everyone ready for the explanation? So, a long time ago, my sophomore year, right? So we had gone to the fair, everything was fine. And then the next day, my stomach started hurting badly. But I still had to go to school. It wasn't major. So I went to school, got breakfast, went to class, And then my stomach started hurting again. So then I had gone, surviving that day without going to the nurse. Next day, stomach pain got worse. This is on a Tuesday. And then I went to the nurse. They had my mom come pick me up. Wednesday, same thing. But it got even worse to the point I had issues breathing. So went to the nurse again. Had my mom come pick me up. Ebenyan. Welcome and hello, Ebenyan or Ebenyan. But yeah, went to the nurse once again. Had brought my belongings with me. Got checked out that day. Hey, we're on like Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday, same thing. Thursday was the same thing. Friday was stay home. Friday was painful. I had issues like breathing. My stomach was hurting. I kept like throwing up a lot. It was a mess. I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink water. I couldn't keep anything down. I even had issues like chewing on ice. So then I started like speed up talking, and when my mom had seen how bad it went, she said ER or hospital. And she looked at my father and they were helping me get my shoes on because I couldn't get my own shoes on. It was that bad. And yeah. So help me get my shoes on, help me get grab the jacket just in case. I got my blanket, my stuffed animal. The first stuffed animal my dad got me when I was severely sick. he got me this little I still have it. It's a little Arctic, well, it's a wolf, but it has like the light blue tail underneath. It's like gray. It's a stuffed animal it got me when I was really bad sick at one time, and he felt really bad, so he got me this little stuffed animal. So I kept it with me on the way. Grabbed the stuffed animal. They grabbed my drink, some water. My phone charger, portable charger, every necessity needed to keep the phone still working. And got me in the car, drove me all the way to the ER, and when they got there, they stopped the car, parked the car, put me in a wheelchair. It was my first time in a wheelchair, and they rushed me into the room. And it was a waiting room, and I waited till late at night, just in pain and agony, and it's really difficult. When they called my name and number, they called me back, and did some tests and took some blood, like draw blood. And during that, they had first asked me before all that when my birthday was, and I had a issue focusing on trying to figure out when it was. So I had to give myself a breather, and then I said it correctly. No, like, issues with that. And took me in the very back room where I laid down on the patient's bed. They did some more tests, and they had like these little metal like things they would put on your chest and stuff, and like things that were going on. And during that, I was out of it. I couldn't focus. I couldn't see very well. My vision was blurred. I had issues walking to the room, so my dad and my mom had to help me. I was tripping, and it was bad. So I laid in the room in pain and agony, wearing a patient's gown, and it felt weird. It was my first time actually wearing a patient's gown that you would wear in a hospital, so it was my first time for everything for this. So I was scared, nervous, and just out of it. So while we waited, my mom was contacting some of the family, letting me know that they're sending prayers and stuff like that. And my dad put on a TV show so I wouldn't focus on like the pain and the issues. And the whole time I kept asking for ice chips, which, if you guys don't know what ice chips are, it's like ice, but like smaller cubes, like you can suck on. And basically just a cup of ice, but like a different type of ice. And yeah, just kept asking for that, but they said we can't get you that. Well, they didn't say that. They brought me, well, my dad went and got me some actually. I couldn't drink water though. They said no drinking water. Well, yeah, they said no drinking water. So all I could do was just suck on ice. Empty stomach, by the way. Haven't had any food within this hour. And just, waiting for them to bring the stretcher. So when they brought the stretcher, I was shaking. I was like, I've never been on a stretcher before. I don't know like what this is. I've seen it in movies, but I was like, I never thought I would end up being on the stretcher. Hello? I never thought I would be the one end up on a stretcher, 16 years old, still in high school during this time and being on a stretcher. So they took me in the stretcher in Brasilia. I don't exactly know what you mean, but if that's where you're at, that's what I kind of figured that you're from Brazil. Well, welcome. I'm from the US, so. And got my blanket, my stuff. Keep in mind, I'm still wearing the patient's gown, and it's extremely cold outside. I'm wearing the patient's gown, laying on a stretcher, a blanket covered over me, holding my stuffed animal, and my phone. And rushed to the back of an ambulance. While being 16 and never had the experience of this before at all. All of this is a new experience. I've never been until that incident, but like a long time ago, I'd never been in a hospital. I've been like, you know, when your mother gives birth, like you've been kind of raised in a hospital, but not like really raised. Born in a hospital, but not really, you know? And then and that was it. And but instead this time my 16-year old experience went different. Keep in mind, this is all during close to midterms, so I could have almost not been able to move up the next grade. Like, my grades and my like entire thing was on the line during this, but I wasn't really focused on that. I was more focused on like how much the pain had hurted, and they were like pricking my finger. I didn't understand why. I didn't know what I had. But they were pricking my finger, getting some blood, gave me like a gauze. I think that's what it's called, like the little not cotton, but the thing that you'd hold. They call it a gauze. I could be wrong, but it's like a little net, like the little white net feeling things. It's like cloth kind of, but not really. But gave me that. I just started holding my finger with it. I didn't want to be on my phone at all because my wrist hurt. It hurt for me to like pick up things. It hurt for me to like move around. I couldn't move around too much. Keep in mind, I still had those things on my chest too, so those things were hurting as well. And my mom and dad had to make a choice between who would be in the back of the ambulance with me and who would drive. And so my dad decided that my mom should be the one that's in the back of the ambulance with me. So imagine like seeing your own daughter, your own child on a stretcher in the ER you know, in a wheelchair, on a patient's bed, and in the back of an ambulance. It hit their spirits. I felt like they wanted to cry, but they couldn't because they had to be strong around me. And so they rushed me to the hospital. I was out of it. I was talking about all the pretty lights I had seen. It's probably when my ADHD started kicking in. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was younger. But yeah. I used to take medication for that, and then I just stopped taking medication for that because it tore up my stomach. And so during all that, when they finally got to the hospital, they got me out. I was on the stretcher once again, and they lifted it. I was kind of scared when they had lifted the stretcher a bit. I was like, I'm not a fan of heights, guys. I'm not a fan of heights. Even being hooked to a stretcher was scary, but when they like lift it to get you out of the, I wasn't. But I was out of it, so it was like kind of scared, kind of send help situation. um, then they leveled it, so then I was like, okay, we're good, we're good. Well, we're not really good, but you know, it's just like me talking to myself in my mind, like, okay, we're good, it's not that high, it's okay, we're gonna be okay, all that. I was just telling myself that all the entire time, all the way from the first thing of being brought into the ER, of the whole, it's gonna be okay, we're gonna be okay, they're gonna find out what's wrong. Just giving myself some like affirmation saying it's gonna be all right, but in all honesty, it wasn't. But you know, what all could you do? Like if you tell yourself it's not gonna be okay, your mind's just gonna go, you know, and you're gonna get more worried. So I had to keep telling myself, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna survive this. You've survived many things. So they took me to the room. Now this was in a children's hospital. I was brought to a children's hospital because they knew who my doctor was, and my doctor would want me in a safe environment. So I was brought into a children's hospital with other kids who were dealing with things, probably more than likely the same things I was dealing with, which I didn't know at the time. So continue sitting while I tell you the story. So brought me into the room, did some like checking, blood pressure, all the normal checks they do, got the IV hooked to me. I didn't like that. I didn't like how they hooked the IV to me. It irritated my hand a bit. And my dad wasn't there yet. So I was worried. I was like, is my dad okay? Where's my father? If you don't know, I'm a daddy's girl. I love my father. I care about my father, and I love doing projects with my father. So for him not being there in this situation, I started having a little bit of a panic attack, but an anxiety attack, and just the smell of the hospital and just seeing that I'm in a hospital really hit. So he showed up later on. I was like, okay, my father's here. Everything's gonna be okay. He ran over. He hugged me. He held my hand in situations where I had needed it. You know. Sorry, y'all. It's emotional. And when the doctors and the nurses had left, um, I was able to get the food for free. So I ordered some food. It was like a pudding thing and something soft, but it broke my parents' heart. And then we like were able to get a movie, so we watched one of my childhood movies, and it was the Peanuts, by the way, like Charlie Brown and all that. And I couldn't eat, and I had also got like a drink. I couldn't drink it, and I just like laid there sick. I was in pain, and it hurted so much. And then when everyone went to sleep, I just laid there crying my eyes out because they were in the very back of the room, and I ended up with separation anxiety. And I just cried at night. And then the next morning, my mom was on the call with my aunt, and my stomach was still in pain, and I was just laying there. Like, imagine laying there hooked to an IV, not able to move, and your stomach's like in pain, your side's in pain, like everything's hurting, your chest is hurting, like your chest is heavy. You see a hospital room you haven't been in for over years, and just all those emotions of being 16. So yeah, during that, I overheard my aunt Jen's apologizing, and I was like, "Why is she apologizing?" My mom said, "You were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes," and I was like, "Something that Aunt Jen has," and she was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "I don't know how to manage it," and she was like, "I know, it's gonna be okay. They're gonna have some classes and stuff. You're gonna learn how to manage it," and I was like, "Okay." So then I started talking to them for a bit, started um trying to ease the mind or the pain of being 16 and diagnosed. It hit. It really hit hard. And I was laying there, they came and they checked on me again, checked on my IV bag, made sure there was still like enough stuff in the IV bag. Turned out it was like sugar water, so they were just trying to make my like numbers stable, which I had no idea what numbers and stable and all that stuff was until the classes happened. And my aunt Jen had mentioned like the moving up room, like I think she said ICU or something like that, where it's like you can like roam free, but they still check on you, but you're not hooked to like an IV or you're not hooked to anything. They just come and check on you and do what they need to do. And I was like, I could walk around. I could finally like not be chained to a hospital bed. And I just wanted to be moved up to that room like badly. So then a miracle happened the next day, guys. Or not the next day, but this night the miracle happened. Way before like they brought like a dog that came and helped, and the dog was like good with anxiety, so I was like, okay, okay. And they had the dog lay with me. They brought me they were really sweet. They brought me all these like anxiety things. They had a feeling I had anxiety, so they brought me like poppets. They brought me like all kinds of fidgets. They brought me some coloring pages and some coloring pencils, and they brought me some like little bags I could put stuff in. And I saw my dad just crying, and I was like, why is he crying, you know? And apparently, he was crying because he had seen how nice they were with me. And he was like, I never wanted my little girl to be stuck in this. And I was like, Dad, I know, but this is how it is, you know? And he was saying stuff like, I never wanted this for you. And I was like, I know. And so that was emotional. And he started hugging me, and we just started crying because they had classes for me, and I could actually get help that I needed. So within that night, I like prayed. I was like, please give me a sign. Give me a sign that there's some hope that I could make it through this. Let me be able to eat something at least. And then that very night, when we watched the movie again, I actually was able to eat without issues. I was able to eat food with no issues. And I cried that night. And I was so thankful. I was so thankful that I was able to eat with no issues. That everyone's prayers were answered. That night. And then the next morning, they said, we can move you up to the room. And I was like, thank you. Like, in my mind, I was like, thank you. Just kept saying thank you. Before all this, I will be forever grateful to my brother. Because he was telling all my teachers that I was in the hospital. And he was trying to collect any work and stuff needed. And telling them that I needed to take the midterm when I got back. So he had helped save my grades. Telling all my teachers and everyone who was there, everyone that he could, saying like, she's in the hospital and all that. I mean, they even had the school praying for me, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I finally got on my phone, and I had all of my friends from school saying, we're sending prayers, we're sending prayers, we're sending prayers. And I was like, I was literally crying. And then I went to the family group, and everyone's like, we're sending prayers, we hope you feel better. Everyone like called, checked in on me. And I was like, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. we were able to be moved up to the next room, and I was able to walk and wander around and be able to sit up, lay down. I didn't have issues walking that time. My legs are still like shaking, but they weren't as bad as they were before. I was like tripping and falling. And then the nurse came in and she got me some celery sticks, some carrots, and all that. And then they had like peanut butter and some stuff, so I had that. And then I was able to have actual food. And then the next couple of days, it was just sitting, watching movies, and enjoying time with each other. And my mom had me go out and go shopping. They brought me out, but I had to be in the wheelchair because, you can only be like walking without a wheelchair in certain areas. And then I got stuck with this like lemonade packet that I liked all the time. So then my mom was like, "This has stevia. Stevia is not good for you." So then she found a better version now to this day that I've been taking. And I'm just like, love it. They went to the classes with me. They told me what could have happened to the pancreas. We don't fully know like why the pancreas dies, but about the insulin and what it's needed to like help with your pancreas. And then the food plate they told us about, Dexcom, the finger pricking. Well, they didn't talk about the Dexcoms yet, but they talked about the finger pricking. And then right after all those classes, I was released and I was back at home. And I was feeling much happier than how I felt when I was first brought in. And then I was just spending time with my parents. It was a whole roller coaster. I ended up having to like finger prick during some of my classes, and I would go to the nurse, and they also taught us about like the needles and like how to inject yourself, injections and stuff. And they said if you did them, then you could be moved up to an Omnipod. So I was like, I'm gonna keep doing them. I now have an Omnipod to this day. Way before the Omnipod, I ended up having the Dexcom, and yeah. And that's all that happened. And I am a type 1 diabetic to this day. But I'm doing much better now than how I had first done. I'm not having as many issues as I had first had. I do have a speech impairment issue from time to time where I struggle, slur over my words and stuff. It's probably like my numbers or something, where I just start like talking, 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 and talking. Is it speech impeachment or is it speech impeachment? No, impeaches. I don't know. It's what it's. I don't know how to say it, but I think it's speech impeachment. But you never know. But yeah, that's my story. And now I'm currently writing a book. I'm working on writing a book about that spiritual moment. And I already have a book that's been out called How We Met, and everyone should go check it out when they get a chance. It's not a bad book. Yeah. But to this day, I am much happier. I'm doing much better, and that's what I've been keeping from you guys, which I hope you guys can understand why I had kept it from you. I hope you guys are very understanding to why I had kept it from you. Still working on your guys' surprise to this day, and my mom's up. I do have an amazing family that does care about me. Even under stressful moments that we have when we're not like understanding each other, they were still there for me. And so were many others. And to a child, to a 16-year-old, it means so much to have your family with you, and very difficult issues and things that's going on that you never had to deal with before. It just means like more when, you know. With that being said, everyone have an amazing day, and be there for people as people were there for me. As you guys have been here for me. And stay awesome, guys. And thank you for the 6 likes, and it means a lot.